Well, we have a small crowd, but glad you're with us today. And this session is going to look at the private sector's contributions to interfaith understanding and peace. So my name is Brian Grimm, and I'm the president of the Religious Freedom and Business Foundation, and also the global chairman of Dare to Overcome, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It's a cooperative program that we've had with the United Nations Global Compact Business for Peace for several years now. So the program that we have with the Business for Peace project started back in 2014. It's with the, it was initiated first in 2013 by Ban Ki-moon setting up the Business for Peace platform. And then one of the first questions that they had is how to deal with issues related to religion. So they reached out to me and my foundation, and we worked on a program and a training resource called Business, a Powerful Force Supporting Interfaith Understanding and Peace. And we published that in 2014, and then released that at the UN Alliance of Civilizations meeting in Bali, Indonesia, in August of 2014. So then that was more or less the start of a focus on how interfaith understanding can be part of peace building within the Global Compact's Business for Peace. So that's the publication itself. And I'm going to share a few of the case studies that's contained in that resource, as well as some of the award winners from the awards that we give out for businesses that are promoting interfaith understanding and peace. So one of the case studies that we did was how messaging and marketing by companies can be a very powerful force for bridging cultural and religious divides. One of these divides follows national borders between Pakistan and India. So Pakistan being predominantly Muslim, India being very mixed with a very large Muslim population, but the world's largest Hindu population. And the two countries share a long border and a contested border, especially in the Kashmir region. So there's barbed wire. It's one of the longest disputed and conflict area borders in the world today. And people on each side look at each other with suspicion. Now, one particular company, in fact many companies, but one company that was interested to market their product both in India and Pakistan realized that if they marketed their product as, well, it's Coca-Cola for India, then in Pakistan, no one would buy Coke. Or if you marketed Pakistani Coke in India, it would become the taboo product. So this is what they did as a marketing strategy to both overcome that problem, but also promote peace. Here's their marketing. Sorry, the sound's not working. Do you know how to make the sound? We had the sound working a few minutes ago. Well, as they adjust the sound, I'll... Okay. So I'll give you one, hopefully they'll get the sound guys here in a minute. One of the backgrounds of this commercial, as you'll see, is that they had Coca-Cola machines where people were walking up to the machine in India and walking up to the machine in Pakistan. And instead of seeing the machine, they would see the live video feed to the people in the other country. So in order to make this commercial, they had to come up with brand new technology that didn't exist before. Because if you have like FaceTime or these other things on your computer, the camera's up here, but the image is down here. So when you look, you're always not looking directly at the eyes. So they had a technology developed that the camera would sense where someone's eyes were and focus on the eyes so that you were looking directly at each other's eyes. So it was a brand new technology that didn't exist before. It was stimulated by the desire to help overcome these problems. I don't know if they've fixed the sound yet. So is it possible to fix the sound? It's coming. Okay.
So, first question.
Yeah.
Before the sound comes, what motivated you to start the article?
I'll explain that later. once showed this video at a meeting of military officers from around the world in Washington, D.C. And we had in the very back military, two generals from Pakistan, and in the front two from India. And for the meeting, they separated themselves. But after seeing this video, they came to the front and they said, "This is so true. We just want to be friends." So there's a powerful emotional impact that businesses with all of their marketing information can have that just human words can't have. So there's another company that recently did a video working on Muslim-Christian relations, and they took on the topic of Islamophobia in Europe. Now the company is a famous company, Amazon, which gets criticized for some of its labor practices. But in this video, they did something that never was done before. They showed a Muslim imam in a commercial for a product. And this was the first time it was done in the United Kingdom, and it was also shown around the world, including in the United States. It was shown in the United States soon after Donald Trump was elected president. So it had quite a significant impact. And when I first saw this video, I was in an airport business lounge, and the whole airport business lounge got quiet and watched this video. So here's another example of business overcoming religious divides. So what a very powerful message that gave, with no words, only pictures. So one of the things that we've done with the United Nations Business for Peace is to give awards to companies or to CEOs who are advancing interfaith understanding and peace around the world. And we give these awards out every 2 years at the Paralympic Games. So they come right after the Olympics, and these are the Olympics for disabled people, maybe missing an arm or without a leg, these kind of athletes. And we've been giving these every 2 years. Here's a brief summary of those awards. We gave them in Rio. We recently gave them in Pyeongchang during the Korea Olympics. And we were part of the big peace movement that happened during the Olympics in Korea, between North Korea and South Korea. So we were part of the support for that, when we had very high-level support in meetings at the different events. We also had former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon participate with us and be part of our initiative there as well. The next will be held in Tokyo in 2020.
There are business leaders who are willing to step up and act as agents of change. The Global Business and Interfaith Peace Awards honor business leaders from over 30 countries from all 6 continents who are helping to advance understanding and peace across faith lines. At the start of each Summer and Winter Paralympic Games, we recognize contributions of these leaders in 4 categories. business leaders around the world who are championing interfaith understanding and peace through their company's core business operations.
So in the core business, this can be the actual business of the company. One example in Israel, there's a tour company that hires Muslim and Jewish tour guides, and the two of them serve as the tour guides for the tourism. And so in that company, they're directly promoting interfaith understanding through their actual business. Another is an example of Indonesia's premier Islamic publishing company. At that company, they produce materials that are meant to produce a fair and moderate understanding of Islam that never promotes violence but promotes love and peace. And the CEO of that company won one of our awards. Here's his story.
Pedro Baguio is the president director of the Mizan Group. As a key Indonesian publisher, the Mizan Group is known for its role in championing pluralism and shaping both moderate and progressive Islamic thought in Indonesia. Pedro has made an impact through support for organizations like Charter for Compassion International and the Yasmin Foundation, as well as leading the Compassionate Islam movement. His work has gone great lengths to galvanize and mobilize moderate Muslims in the face of increasing extremism and interreligious tensions in the country.
So directly in his core business, he's promoting an inclusive vision of Islam, not one that excludes and separates people of different faiths. Another way that businesses can promote interfaith understanding and peace in their actions is through policy engagement and advocacy. This is the story of the CEO of a company called Tijari in the United Arab Emirates, a technical company that helped businesses acquire logistics for port operations. It's a woman CEO. She then became the first Minister of Tolerance for the United Arab Emirates. Maybe some of you know her, Sheikh Lubna. And then she has now become the president of Zayed University. So this is going from business to direct policy engagement. So many business people often wear different hats in their life, sometimes business, sometimes government. This is her story.
Sheikh Lubna is a powerful force behind the UAE Pledge of Religious Tolerance, adopted by government, civil society, and business leaders. She not only works hand in hand with local Muslim, Christian, Hindu, and Sikh groups, but also with global political leaders and religious figures such as Pope Francis, helping the UAE become a world leader in interfaith action.
And this was her comments on receiving the award.
Your Excellency, I wish to express my appreciation for being selected as a medalist for the 2018 Global Business and Interfaith Peace Symposiums and Awards. I am truly humbled. I share this award with my country, the United Arab Emirates, a nation dedicated to sustainable peace among all peoples. The symposium's role today is more important than ever in promoting a peaceful world filled with mutual understanding, religious tolerance, and vibrant global business environments. May we work together to create a world where sustainable development goals are achieved, a world where no one is left behind. May we create a world where the human rights of all are respected, and a healthy life is achieved for both humankind and our planet. Thank you.
Another way that business leaders are involved in promoting interfaith understanding and peace is through social investment and philanthropy. So the work they do in society or the causes that they support. This story is about a man from Lebanon, Fuad Makhzoumi. Sometimes I think of him as the Donald Trump of Lebanon in a good way. He has his own jet and things like that. But he was in exile from Lebanon during the war, so it was impossible for him to live there. His family then grew up in Saudi Arabia and London. But as soon as the civil war in Lebanon ended, he moved back to Lebanon, and he came back with a mission. Here's a story about his mission.
During the 15-year civil war, many youth in Lebanon forewent their education as they became increasingly involved with religious fundamentalism, leading to unemployment and economic stagnation. Fuad Maksoumi, CEO of Future Pipes Industries Group Limited, witnessed how his late son's youthful energy and cross-cultural savvy triggered exponential growth as his son provided a positive vision for productive and socially responsible business. Maksoumi and his foundation have helped empower thousands by harnessing this same youthful enthusiasm for entrepreneurship and religious freedom. His microcredit training for Lebanese people of all faiths has helped over 10,000 individuals set up sustainable businesses, and hundreds of thousands more are receiving vocational training.
So one of the unique things about his project was he's a Sunni Muslim, but when he went back to Lebanon, he said, no, my foundation will serve everyone, Sunni, Shia, Maronite, Druze, all the different populations of Lebanon. And he invited me to his home, and he had religious leaders and political leaders and others come. And as he sort of kicked off our discussion, he said, Lebanon is the only country where everybody could be at one time killing each other and now coming back together and working together. And he said it's a miracle, and it's something that has to be fed with good programs. So these were his comments after receiving the award.
Thank you very much for honoring me with the Global Business and Interfaith Peace Award. I'm humbled and overwhelmed. I'm accepting this award on behalf of all sufferers of the religious discrimination in our region, because I believe in dignity and integrity of the human race. As a Muslim, I was taught to believe in tolerance and openness through dialogue and sharing and through spirit of partnership, respect of others' belief, and diversity of opinion. This respect, when adopted by all, encourages men and women to work together without prejudice and prejudgment, and support each other to secure a better quality of life, creating new opportunities and a brighter future for the underprivileged, the disenchanted with the current global economic and political state of affairs, and the desperate, and offer them a better alternative to slipping into the dark world of extremism and terrorism, where they were promised a different life and an alternative to all ways. Religious freedom will encourage civil society to work together to generate a positive and collaborative economy to improve their lives. Religious freedom will encourage men and women to respect each other's belief and accept them as equal in life. My wife May and I will continue our mission to encourage interfaith freedom and tolerance to help provide a better future for our children and grandchildren in Lebanon and in the world.
So he has now become a parliamentarian, so he's another example of a business person who moved from being the CEO of a large business to now being part of the government. So I'll end, and then we'll give it to Dr. Kees in a minute with an invitation. So Dare to Overcome happens every 2 years. The next will be in Tokyo in 2020. And you can nominate CEOs of anyone in your network that is involved in this kind of work. But in the meantime, we have a project to empower women in media, to tell how businesses build inclusivity. So we also give awards to women filmmakers who make films about how businesses can help bridge these gaps. So here's a short promo video about this film competition that has begun now. And on December 1st, we'll have a training for any women that are interested in Hollywood at the CBS Studios in Hollywood on December 1st. So there's still time if you know someone that we can get them in the training. The training's free, but you have to pay for your trip there.
In our age of visual storytelling, we must engage women as media advocates. Women can create films that advance the legal principle of freedom of thought, conscience, religion, or belief for every person without distinction. To do this, we are pleased to announce the Dare to Overcome film competition. Our hope is to challenge female filmmakers from all over the world to produce short films showcasing inclusivity, leading to innovation, entrepreneurship, and community. The top storytellers will receive coaching to produce their films, and winning films will then screen before world-class CEOs and leaders at the Global Business Kees Awards before the opening of the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. So, what story will you share?
So you can find more information on this initiative and the film competition at the website daretovercome.org, and you can email me at brian@daretovercome.org, and I'll pass out a short profile. Next, we have a guest who is not really a guest Egypt, I'm a guest visiting from the United States, but Dr. Kees is a resident expert on East-West relations. He's been in Egypt longer than many of you have been alive. He's been here 43 years.
Yes, like this. Okay, I hear this is going. Okay, good. Yes. Well, we started yet. I was nominated for a Global Compact Peace Award from Egypt, but we're going to the beginning of the slides. Well, my name is, no, that's the end, that's the last slide, so I want to start with the first slide and not the end. My name is Cornelis Hulsman, or Kees Hulsman, that's my nickname, but officially it's Cornelis. And I came here in 1976, and that was because I had met a Dutch diplomat who had been the head of mission in Saudi Arabia in the 1920s. He was 61 years older than I was. And you know what old men and old women like to do is to tell stories about their life. And so he was telling all the experiences in the Middle East, and I was fascinated by that, by all the stories that he was telling. And then he introduced me to all the generation in Egypt will know the name, Dr. CIDT. He was the head of the Institute of Strategic Studies of Al-Ahram, and that was my first contact here in Egypt. Through this 81-year-old diplomat, I was 20 years old, coming to Egypt, and what he did was even more. He said, well, you know, you're from the city of Apeldoorn in the Netherlands, and there's a royal palace in Apeldoorn. Luxor is the royal city in Egypt, so well, build a partner-town relation between Apeldoorn and Luxor. The cities are both of the same size, so you can do this. So I went with this letter. I had the embassy support, and there I was as a 20-year-old meeting with the head of the city council of Luxor. That wasn't the governorate yet at that time. It was still part of the king. It was the head of the city council. And well, it's a fantastic experience when you're 20 years old and then representing your home city to Luxor and getting that reception. So that is what made my start here in Egypt. And after you have a good start in any country, you keep coming back. Because of the CIDT, I studied sociology, and my angle on Muslim-Christian relations in Egypt is all from the perspective of a sociologist. So I am not a clergyman, I know clergymen, but I am not involved in this at all. I'm a sociologist looking at the role of religion We started. I came here. My wife is Egyptian. That's an important thing to mention. So I have strong ties to Egypt. Half of my family is Egyptian. I was the director of the Dutch Immigration Foundation after I graduated from my studies. But then in '94 decided to move permanently to Egypt. And we started with media reporting. I was living in Egypt in '94. We were seeing reports in Europe, in the US about Egypt. And said, do I really live in that country? I see something else in Egypt than what I see reported. So it really started with media reporting and trying to challenge the one-sided media reporting that you have, not only on Egypt, on lots of other countries as well. It all goes by the adagio, when a dog bites a man, that's not news. But when a man bites a dog, that's unusual, then you have to report it. So negative stories are reported, and the positive you will hardly see reported. But when you live in the country, you see a whole different society. Well, that's what is Arab West Report. I started with my own electronic publication. There was no company, there was no NGO. It was starting challenging Western media reporting through Arab West Report. We go to the next slide. That's me. Okay, good. So it's an electronic library on Muslim-Christian relations since 1997. We have now some 50,000 articles and reports in the database, which makes it the largest database in the English language about contemporary Muslim-Christian relations in the world. So this is a very large database. It's media critique, so we look at stories that are being reported anywhere in media. Sometimes people are presenting this to us and say, well, what do you think of this or what do you think of that? We'll check wherever it is possible, because it's all a matter of time involvement. But wherever we can do it, we will do it. The investigative reports of hundreds of tensions. So when you get into stories of forced conversions to Islam, or local tensions, or the attack, unfortunately, in the monastery of St. Samuel that happened last week, you go into this and you know local people, and you try to analyze what is going on. Seeking peaceful solutions. Well, what is going on in Egypt is one major thing when I go into lectures in Europe, and will not be surprising to you, but that Egypt is a very diverse country. Yes, there is extremism, but there's so many good projects and so many good things happening here. Show this as well. So this is what we're trying to do. Methodology. So when you go into something that is reported in Western media, you construct a sequence of events with all the factors that play a role in a particular event. Go into what Arabic media has been reporting. That is very often not accessible to non-Arabic speakers, so they don't see how Arabic media report about it. We do interviews and fact-checking, discovering patterns in society. And again, it's so much more complicated than what people report. Very important is context. This has been mentioned a couple of times, but you cannot just write about or report about Muslim-Christian relations without dealing with context in Egypt. Well, you are having a country that increased from 35 million in '76 when I first came to 100 now, so 3 times that number. And only in the period I have been here in Egypt, one of the highest in the world population density. It all plays a role, because very often if you put population density, that's the pressure cooker example. If you put a lot of people in a very small room of 10 by 10, and everybody starts pushing elbows, don't get on my toes, well, now you're all pushed together in a very small space. So of course, when people are living in very cramped spaces, so the lower classes here, of course you get all the tensions flowing out from this. And when we looked into reported tensions about Muslim-Christian relations, and you go into those areas, you find most times something very different. You find social problems, and then involving Muslims and Christians, but it doesn't really involve the religious beliefs. It involves people who happen to be Muslim and Christian. Reported about those social problems, economic hardship, challenges you find as insufficient water, and of course when you're dealing with farmers, quarrels about the land, water use on your land, rising sea level. If you go to Dumyat or along the north coast, you see areas where you see the salt coming up, and of course people lose land. Political divisions, non-Islamist and Islamist, so it's not only Muslim Christian, it's way more diverse. And a lot of rumors that you see taking place. People tell you stories, and you go into this. This is not what it is on the ground. So you have to, in Egypt, the informal sector and the formal sector. When you're dealing with companies, members of UN Global Compact, you're dealing in the formal sector. But when you go into the lower class areas, you're dealing with companies, small companies that are not registered. Property is not registered. There's a lot of things going on. People are working, but there are no labor contracts. You're going into a whole different area. And of course, that has consequences also if there is something happening. You don't have a proper structure for this. And then you go into Egyptian culture, blame the other very often. So it's always the other who has made the mistake. And it's not you yourself. It's always someone else. That's where stories of kidnapping Christian girls, for example, come from. When you go into those stories, you're going into honor and shame. It's a shame if someone leaves his or her religion, and it doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or Christian or both. This is simply not done. But when it happens, you can really blame the other. You have to know how this functions, and then you can explain individual stories when they happen and say, well, yes, this is how it is reported, but it's way more complex than what we see here. Poor conflict resolution systems. You have the reporting on reconciliation meetings. Well, you have a big problem that Egyptian court system is not accessible to people in villages. Yes, of course, you can go to court, but you have to hire a lawyer, and you have to know how it works. So it's way too complicated, and there are costs involved. And what do people do? They try to find local solutions, local reconciliation. That is all fine. In many cases, it does work, but not in all cases. And then you get conflicts coming out of that. There is a problem with those reconciliation meetings, is that it's not properly regulated. So if you have mediation sessions in other countries, in the Netherlands you have this, in the US you have this, well then the government could regulate a mediation session only be accepted if it meets those and those and those criteria, but you don't have this here. So people do it in their own way, and then you see it happening in one way, in one area, and happening in a different way in another area. And again, it depends on local relations. It can work, but not always. And then you get the negative when it doesn't work, then that gets reported. Poor land registration, we have seen those issues where you have conflicts. Monastery Abu is a very well-known example. 2008, a number of people died in the conflict. Well, yes, because the government in Minya at the time was not registering people who were taking land from the desert. The old land in the Nile Valley was registered, but when they went into the desert, it was not. And then you're going into an area where do you draw the borders? Well, so it's all settled now. With 10 years later, there are proper borders, but the conflict started because there was no proper land registration at that time. Weak local government institutions are dealing with in areas where you have this population pressure with great economic challenges. All those things, when you are going into issues that are being reported, you have to take these into consideration. I have a whole list of examples. I can give them, but each example would take a considerable bit of time, so I'm skipping it. I have written also a text. I am now not presenting the lecture that I had prepared. You told me, well, do this a bit more freely and let's have a discussion. I have a text, so anyone who is interested can see the text as I have written this out, and you find more details in that text. Now, what is Okay, fine. So that's what I had prepared, but I am not now presenting what I had prepared. This is some like organization. You have to know that we are both a company and an NGO, or we have two legal entities. In 2005 we founded a company, so it started as a private initiative. Cairo West report, there was no legal entity, there was no private initiative to deal with those challenges. But in 2005 we founded a company, Center for Intercultural Dialogue and Translation. It's a think tank. If you have translation work, you can come to us, we can handle that. Database building and carrying out projects in the field of intercultural dialogue, different projects all over. And we have an NGO, also a think tank. It is the largest student internship provider, and I have here a text that can also, well, we have spoken yesterday with some of the organizers, but it couldn't be done any more time-wise, but I can present it here. These internships, these are foreign interns, these are Egyptian interns, and they could serve your organization as well. So let us know if you would be in need of interns. We can help you with that. The whole purpose is that it should be beneficial to your company, your organization, and it should be beneficial to the intern, and we can help them with that. But that is the Center for Arab West Understanding. We have placed in the past 10 years over 250 interns for periods between 6 weeks and 1 year. And with this, we are the largest internship provider. We're actually providing the internships and taking care of them in Egypt. And that's all through the NGO. Now, why is there a company and an NGO? Well, you all know the difficulties with the NGO. To have activities, it's all registered with the Ministry of Social Solidarity, there's no problem. But as soon as you deal with foreign funding, you get weekly questions, what is this? And it's very difficult to operate with funded projects through the NGO. So all the funded projects go through the company, the NGO does all the internship work and all the NGO work. So it's therefore two entities. And that works. We're setting up some. Where are we? Oh, I have to. I don't know what it is. Okay, the nationalities. So show you how diverse our interns are. They come really from all over the world. The biggest chunk to the right orange is Egypt, of course. And the second biggest is the green, that's the Germans. And then you have from many different countries all over that we get in the list now is even longer than what we have here. So, the intern activities, what they do, well, the interns are either coming in for language reasons, the foreign interns, then we'll give them translation projects supervised by a professional translator. Center for Intercultural Dialogue and Translation. So that's not difficult. For some, we have distant translation, so they do this from their home country, but they're supervised by a translator here in Egypt. Outreach, social projects, research, so you go into political science, sociology, and they work on a paper for university, and journalism. So those who have, I was myself, an associate professor of mass communication at the American University, so teaching how to write decent journalistic articles. Well, that's what we do. So those are the activities that interns until now have been involved in our own office. If we mediate for other organizations, and the other organizations, of course, decide what the intern will do, we'll try to match them. Last summer, this is our group of students from the summer school that we have done together with Heliopolis University, and that was all about interreligious dialogue. And the great thing with this group of students was that the group was so diverse. And I think that is key for the success for any project that you do in the area of interfaith understanding. There's no point of having only people together who belong to one faith community. You have to have that diversity, and we have with this group. So Muslim, Christian, very pious very liberal atheist. We had a Brazilian spiritist, so very diverse. It doesn't matter, and they were sharing this, explaining this, and we had a whole program for this. The issue is knowing what the other motivates, understanding the other, respecting this. You don't need to agree, you go your own way, but understand this and don't come with all kinds of misconceptions. So what we had in the beginning of this summer school, that opinions were viewed, but that's not who I am as a Muslim, or that's not who I am as a Christian. So you get all those preconceptions were dealt with in the summer school, and it worked extremely well. And we hope to do this coming summer again. So Heliopoulos University is into that, so our NGO with the Heliopoulos University will go again for the coming summer. It's interns, but we also do academic publishing. There's fantastic work for interns to get academic credits. The books are here on the table. This is published by a German academic publisher for the book on the Egyptian Constitution. I don't know how many, 20 interns worked on it. The work from ruling to opposition, some 60 interns have worked on it. So one did one interview, the others did 5 interviews, another wrote a chapter. So it's a whole combined activity from a whole group of people. And both deal with one of the most sensitive subjects in Egypt, the period of Morsi and transition to Ali Mansour. So the Egyptian constitution was comparing the constitution under Morsi with the one of 2014. And from ruling to opposition deals with Morsi's rule, because I had the interns at that moment, and we had all those interviews, we had access to people, both brotherhood leaders and the opposition. And that resulted in this book, From Ruling to Opposition. Now, very sensitive subject. Is this not problematic? No, not in the way it is done here. Because what I do with interns in research is that all the work that is done in Egypt has to be descriptive. So you're not here to bring in your own opinions. You may have your own sympathies for one thing or the other, but in reporting, you describe what you find. Describing is what people do, what people say, the interviews you do, and it's extremely strong focus on the descriptive side of it. And that was very well received. So the Egyptian constitution got a foreword from Amma Musa, and from ruling to opposition got a foreword from Ambassador Mona Omar. So that's also showing that this is good, solid academic work. The books are here on the table, but they are not for free. All the handouts are for free, but the books I pay for with the German publisher. They are costing 30 euros per copy. So if you're interested, you can come to me, but I can't give them out, unfortunately, for free. Social outreach. So it's not just the internships, it is also the social outreach that we do with our NGO. So that is entirely through the NGO. We have adopted an Egyptian village, Kufada. Well, we are collecting in Egypt, outside Egypt, second-hand, good quality second-hand clothing goes into the village. I think we have dressed the entire village by now. We've done this for 10 years. We bring people in with groups. We try to set up programs with microcredit for people who want to set up projects in the village. So all this is a systematic connection with the village of Kufada. That's Magara. That's 200 kilometers south of Cairo. And when you do that, it's also great with the students, because if the students want to get to know how it functions in a village, this is a village where I know the people and they know us. So you always have a fantastic reception. It is a village where you have a very active priest, Father Johannes, and active Sheikh Hamdi Abdel Fattah. They are very good friends together. The priest is Coptic Orthodox, the Sheikh is a Salafi. And this is where we had our experience in European Parliament. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that photo now, but we were both, Dr. Brian and me, in the European Parliament in 2012, and I showed only one photo in the European Parliament, the Salafi Sheikh, or the priest hugging the Salafi Sheikh, and he was then at that time campaigning for a Noor party, the priest doing that, and this British member of Parliament who was chairing the meeting that said, "This is impossible." Well, sir, come to Egypt, I'll take you to the village, I'll introduce you to these two people, these are friends of mine. Why was that possible in Kufada? Well, because both were born in the same village, both grew up, they're about, the priest has been older than the sheikh, but they grew up together. So when you are lifelong growing up in the same village, you're not import coming from somewhere else, you're from the same village. It creates a bond that oversteps religion. So yes, there were religious differences, but for these men, it's their personal friendship that is number one. So that's Kufada. It's a great place to take people to show also how different faith communities live together. So this is for me a great example. Then it's not only I was mentioned it here. We were invited by Prince Hassan of Jordan. He created a one-day event about our work called The Factor of Peace. I was invited this in February by this humanitarian activist Rekail Hafi to Tunisia because they're interested in the work that we're doing in Egypt. Could we set up something similar in Tunisia? Was the question. And she came back later to Egypt with a peace initiative to end the civil war in Libya and asking if we could help. Well, we are an NGO, we are a small NGO, so what I did in this particular case was assigning a student and say, well, here you have the Libyans, here you have our Tunisian lady, and what they were not capable of doing is to all the talks, there was a lot of talking, very oral-based society, and they didn't put it on paper. So you put a student with these people and say, well, let's now formulate it. Let's formulate your plans on paper and get this in a text. And the student, it was a fantastic experience for the student. It was great for the Libyans and the Tunisians, and they are now using this as their paper, but it was with the help of one of our students. That's an example of what we can do. Adopting a Belgian prisoner in Egypt, that's another thing we're trying. The parents came to us and he was in drugs trade, he was got into financial difficulties and thought with people in Europe that by swallowing little pills in your stomach that you could get through the border and smuggle drugs that way in order to make some money. He got arrested, but he got a sentence for lifelong. That is very harsh. In Europe, that would not have happened. So someone who was involved in it would have been punished in Europe, sure would have been punished in the US, but not lifelong. Here in Egypt, it is lifelong. Well, I've been speaking with Egyptian authorities about it. Well, it could be a solution, and that is a prisoner exchange. So I'm looking into this, and again, it is with students who have looked into examples of Egypt having such treaties with other countries. So then this becomes a student assignment. Well, look into this. So we're doing this. And then the Learning Center, and that's why Madame Eileen Werner is here, because she is heading the Learning Center. It's one of the latest things that we have added. And we wanted to highlight this. In March 2018, I was introduced to a Ghanaian girl, Diana, and if she could do an internship, people saw her, but I didn't have any background about her. I came through a local church and said, well, can you take her along? Well, 19, my students are a bit older, 22, 25, but take her on. But then discovered that she couldn't write. Reading skills were very, very poor and a very low vocabulary. Didn't have any background. So we discovered a big learning gap with her. Then in May to July, I was able to place her in a refugee school with Sudanese curriculum, Stars Refugee School. That didn't work because of her age. They placed her in grade 8. And well, she is really grade 2 in her academic level. But it's because of her age. You cannot place a 19-year-old girl in a class with 8-year-old kids. That doesn't work. That's the problem with the regular school systems, also with the refugee schools. So that didn't work. So in the summer, we had a summer school program with our student interns. So well, I have those interns. So we had 3 students, 2 Egyptian, Italian, same thing. Couldn't go to school here in Egypt, and they couldn't go back to Italy, and we have been taking them, and the Guinean girl. And that motivated to contact Eileen is here to start with the Learning Center, and that's now recognized by the Ministry of Social Solidarity. Here's the Guinean girl on the left. So we are starting now, and it's a pilot. It's seeing if we can, because she's not the only one that is in this situation. So we have been calculating that if we want to make this work, we need 20 paying kids to break even, to simply have all the costs covered. We need scholarships for kids, students, and it would be 450 euro per year, or 9,000 Egyptian pounds per year. Assistance to build learning center, facilities, computers, learning material, books. So we are now trying to bring this together through our NGOs. And if you can help, if you can sponsor one student, that would be great, because you're dealing with families that even the 9,000 Egyptian pounds, which is not really a big sum of money, but for those families, it's huge. They cannot do this. And what they will get with this, that's not mentioned here, but is working towards an international recognized high school diploma. So it's not just being there and spending your time, but getting your international recognized diploma so that you can do something with it, either on the labor market or continue with your studies. So that's where we are working on. We have promotional activities on the 17th of November, Christmas Bazaar at St. John the Baptist Church in Adi. So if you're interested in going there, please contact Eileen or me. And on December 1, we have an open day in our NGO where you can actually see how it works. Because dealing with young kids from young to old is one thing, but when you deal with kids who have a big learning gap, it's a whole different story. And perhaps, Eileen, what does it mean if you have a kid of 19 who has the level of a 7-year-old, academic level of a 7-year-old?
Very frustrated children. Very frustrated children. The older the kids are, or the students that have missed many days and years of school in some cases, they turn to the wrong kind of groups of people to hang out with. They tend, and for boys, they become violent. For girls, they may end up in a situation which is not optimal, no matter what religion you are, where they have no way of making money. Without an education in this world today, a child doesn't have a very bright future. What we are setting up, initiating at the Learning Centre, is that we don't go by a child's age or grade. We give them an initial test to see what they know. Most of the time, they don't really know anything. So we have to build a foundation and start at the beginning. Even with Diana at 19, she is working at first grade level. She never actually went to school as a young child. So all the skills that you and I learned at school, these children don't have. Diana's one. There are many children who are non-Egyptian that there is no education for. They're here as expatriates due to family circumstances. Some of them are refugees from Syria, Lebanon, and also from many of the African countries. They cannot go to an Egyptian school. There is no education for them. So therefore, they can never progress in life. What we are trying to do is to make sure that we can give them a chance, a better chance at an education. If they are truly dedicated, then they can go on to have a university degree. They can go on to further education, even if it's vocational education. They still need to be able to read and write. Without being able to read and write, they can go nowhere. So what we are hoping to do is to appeal to social-minded businesses here in Egypt if they would be willing to take on and sponsor a child. For them to do that, and I have a small letter to hand out that will give more details, is that we would do a background check to make sure that the child really is in financial need to be able to have an education. We will also check all school records to see if they have the responsibility, academic responsibility and accountability, that they are not just going to go to school because somebody's paying for it. They're going to school to learn. That they realize that this is their one chance to have a better life. So this is what our learning centre, our goals are. We have an open grading system. It means that you can have a 13-year-old child and a 19 or 20-year-old child in the same group. We don't class them as grades because they are working at multi-levels, not only because English is probably their second or third language, but that they all have different skill levels. With having an open grading system and continuous assessment, a child that shows, that proves that they are working hard can be promoted to a higher level within the same term time. They don't have to wait a whole year and stagnate. They can easily improve their own lot by hard work and dedication. So a sponsor would be able to have a report on a regular basis on the child that they are taking care of, and would be invited to any of the events that we have, whether it's for fundraising or social and educational awareness.
Yeah, thank you. And about Diana, so it's a pilot that we have now, but Diana's mother came from Liberia, civil war, Liberia, escaped to Guinea, and then from Guinea came as a worker to Egypt. And then, of course, if you have an income of £3,000 a month, and what is the possibility to give your two daughters an education if you're not Egyptian? Egyptians go to an Egyptian school, local, but they have nothing. They have nowhere to go to. So this is the background where she came in. And you have experience with this type of kids. So you have done this before in other educational centers. So Eileen is a very experienced teacher, and we wouldn't be able to do this as an NGO without someone who is really experienced in doing this. So that's the pilot project, and that's what we're now trying to get off the ground. And if you want to participate, we would certainly most appreciate that. Well, I've been nominated in 2017 for a Business Peace Award, so that is, I got the question, how did you get to the membership of UN Global Compact? We're a small company with an NGO. Well, it's because of this nomination by a number of Egyptian businessmen, scholars, who were then, and some former government officials, former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, who were then saying, well, this is what should be done. More information in our press report, and we have a newsletter. The newsletter gives you information about what the students are doing, all the different activities that we are involved in. There's no cost involved in this newsletter, and please sign up if you are interested. I need to mention Dr. Imam, because Dr. Imam is a businessman who is not a member of the NGO, but knows the NGO pretty well. You have been many times coming to the office, and very much appreciate your support that you are here now with us today. Remember also when we organized a visit to the Netherlands, and we went to the Dutch Parliament, and I got the Egyptian delegation in Parliament. Dr. Imam was part of this. Dr. Imam.
Thank you very much for this nice introduction. We have to thank the responsible persons who are inviting us for this nice meeting. And I have to mention that Mr. Kees is a friend of mine since more than 10 years. We are neighbors, we are living in Mahdi. And since that time, actually, we are meeting on frequent tables. And he arranged to some businessmen a trip for Holland. And in this trip, we visited together the Dutch Parliament. And so many issues have been discussed there, and we would like actually that some of the issues be finished, because unfortunately no one followed these issues. So we hope that we can do this trip again by some businessmen in order to see what we can do for our country. Because actually Mr. Kees, he is more Egyptian than Dutch. He loves the country so much. He is traveling all over the country, from Lower to Upper Egypt. One day I accompanied him to the Upper Egypt, and we visited so many places for the Christians and for the Muslims. He is so liberal man, and actually we are happy that such persons are living among us, and he's doing his best to let Egypt, one of the greatest countries as it was, by all what he has in his personal features and our capabilities. So I'm glad to be in this meeting, and I have to thank all those who are inviting us, and thanks also Mr. Kees to let me have such a chance to be among with you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And anyone that's here, if this would be an excellent project for business to support. So this is the end of our formal presentation, so if there are some more comments or questions, we'd be happy to answer them now.
One comment is that I have material here on the table, so on the internship program, on the Learning Center, so please come to the table and I can give you material. We also have here a publication, the Mahdi Messenger, and I don't have enough copies. I think I have some 5 copies, but this has an article about the Learning Center, so that's why I took these copies with me. Yeah, and I see this book here now. Of course, you all know the name Milad Hana. Okay, well, this is the book 7 Pillars of Egyptian Identity. And this is used at this moment, was used, the World Youth Conference is over, but in Sharm el-Sheikh. So where you have on one hand, this was my comment, to Western media, where you have, yes, you had a horrible attack in the Mosque of St. Samuel, but at the same time, you see that at such a media conference with President Al-Sisi, the focus is on this book, on the mutual identity of Egyptians, Muslim, Christian, doesn't matter what background you have, through this book of Milad Hana. So anyone who's interested, a good book to read.
Yeah. So any questions or other comments? If not, we'll be happy to stay here and chat afterwards, but thank you for coming today, and we're glad for your participation. Thank you very much.